Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. Tonight, after a third woman just came forward with explosive new sexual misconduct allegations against Brett Kavanaugh, somehow Republicans are still, as of this hour, planning to hold a hearing tomorrow and then vote to give Kavanaugh a lifetime appointment to the U.S. Supreme Court. The claims by Julie Swetnick, outlined in a sworn affidavit released today by her lawyer, Michael Avenatti, are harrowing. We'll get to the details in a moment. A warning to our viewers, those details are graphic. Some may find them disturbing. Kavanaugh, we should say, denies Swetnick's account and denies even knowing her. And now, 14 hours till the Senate Judiciary Committee is set to hear testimony from both Kavanaugh and Christine Blasey Ford, the first woman to publicly accuse him of sexual misconduct. Democrats on the committee are calling for Kavanaugh's nomination to be withdrawn. In a rambling press conference this evening, the president, while professing to be receptive to Blasey Ford's testimony tomorrow, voiced his strong support for the nominee.
I'm going to see what happens tomorrow. I'm going to be watching. Believe it or not, I'm going to see what's said. So it's possible that they will be convincing. Now, with all of that being said, Judge Brett Kavanaugh has been for many years one of the most respected people in Washington. Every single person knows him. A lot of people know him well. And those people don't believe what's going on.
President also referring multiple times to the accusations as a con job. Michael Avenatti's client, Julie Swetnick, claims to have attended multiple parties in the 1980s with Kavanaugh and his friend Mark Judge, who is also said to have witnessed Kavanaugh's alleged assault of Christine Blasey Ford. Kavanaugh and Judge both deny Ford's story. Now, Swetnick's account of their conduct, that is Kavanaugh and Judge, as teenagers is deeply troubling. She alleges, again, in her sworn statement under penalty of perjury, that she observed Kavanaugh engage in abusive and physically aggressive behavior towards girls, including pressing girls against him without their consent, grinding against girls, and attempting to remove or shift girls' clothing to expose private body parts. She says she became aware of efforts by Mark Judge, Brett Kavanaugh, and others to spike the punch at house parties she attended with drugs and/or grain alcohol, so as to cause girls to lose their inhibitions and their ability to say no. According to Swetnick, again, she witnessed efforts by Judge and Kavanaugh and others to cause girls to become inebriated and disoriented so they could then be gang raped in a side room or bedroom by a train of numerous boys. Swetnick says she has a firm recollection of seeing boys lined up outside rooms at many of these parties, waiting for their turn with a girl inside the room. These boys included Mark Judge and Brett Kavanaugh. Finally, Swetnick says that in approximately 1982, she became the victim of one of these gang train rapes where Judge and Kavanaugh were present. Now, we should be clear, she does not allege that Kavanaugh participated in her sexual assault, and none of her claims have been independently verified by NBC News. Kavanaugh and Judge, again, both denied the allegations. Kavanaugh saying in a statement, "This is ridiculous and from the Twilight Zone. I don't know who this is, and this never happened." Here to talk about tomorrow's Senate Judiciary Committee hearing is one of the senators on that committee, Democratic Senator Mazie Hirono of Hawaii. All right, Senator, first of all, is this hearing going to really happen tomorrow?
Apparently so. So the Republicans drive to push this through no matter what. We already have 3 credible reports of sexual misconduct by Judge Kavanaugh, and they don't want to hear any of it. And now, in fact, they went so far as to hire a prosecutor for one day, a female prosecutor, so that the Senate, the Republican senators on the committee can hide behind her skirt, literally, and they don't have to reveal themselves to the American public. That is how far they're going. It is totally appalling. I have already called on the president, along with the rest of the Democrats on the Judiciary Committee, to have the president withdraw this nomination.
There is testimony or transcripts released recently of Judge Kavanaugh's interview with counsel from the Judiciary Committee, asking him about a number of allegations. There are 2 more anonymous allegations that are included there. There's reporting tonight about a 4th allegation contained in an anonymous letter. An anonymous letter, we should be clear, NBC News reporting that. He is asked in the anonymous letter that in 1998 he pushed a woman up against a wall, was sort of sexually aggressive with her as he pushed her against a wall. There are witnesses. He is asked about that in the Judiciary Committee transcript, and he denies it. What do you make of that?
He denies everything, and this is why, yet another reason that at the minimum an FBI investigation should occur. So everyone should wonder, why is it that the only people who are willing to have the FBI investigate are the three credible reports, but not him and not the Republicans on the committee? We should ask, why is that happening? And by the way, I want to emphasize that this is a job interview for Judge Kavanaugh. This is not some right that he has to get on the Supreme Court. And so in a job interview, one's character, credibility, and candor are on the line. And before all of this came to pass, I already had serious questions about his credibility and was not going to vote for him. But it is just totally appalling. I know that the people in America are watching how we're going to deal with these credible reports, and we're not dealing with it very well. And I think the Republicans are fooling themselves if they can hire a person for one day to hide behind because they're too afraid to question Dr. Ford themselves. I think it's just appalling.
Do you believe that there are three women who have made on-the-record accusations against Kavanaugh, one in high school, or two in high school and one in college? Do you believe Ms. Swetnick and Ms. Ramirez, the other two, aside from Dr. Blasey Ford, should be giving some kind of testimony or sworn interview with some investigators in your committee or the FBI?
Of course they should speak to the FBI, and all three of them said that they want an FBI investigation. They want to be questioned by the FBI. The only people who don't want this are Judge Kavanaugh and the Republicans on the committee. So it's very telling to me that they're going to push forward with this nomination come hell or high water, because they need him to be on that court so that there will be no 4-to-4 ties. There are a lot of very conservative groups with lots of money that want Judge Kavanaugh to be their fifth vote on the court. So there is this huge rush to get him on the court before October, but it is totally untoward. And how many more people have to come forward before the Republicans will say enough? Apparently 3 and plus 1 anonymous, very specific kinds of reporting. That's not enough for the Republicans. I hope that the American people who are watching, all of us have heard from so many people who have said, I never told my story, but this kind of event, this kind of trauma happened to me too. The women, particularly all across the country, are watching, and the enlightened men, as I put it, are also watching.
All right, Senator Mazie Hirono of Hawaii, we will see you tomorrow morning in that hearing room where you will be asking your own questions, as I understand it.
Aloha.